Hey everyone, it's Matt here with Nightrun Studio, and welcome back to the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Unity. In this series, we're doing 10 lessons at 10 minutes or less each, and we're gonna make a simple platformer by the end. In our last video, we got our player flipping back and forth and added to the running and jumping. It's starting to feel a little like a platformer. That said, it would sure be nice to have a little more control over our jump height, and so in this video, we're gonna add the ability to hold the button down in order to jump higher. That's where we're headed in this video. Let's get started. Now, we already made a great foundation to our jumping in our jump video, so let's head into the player controller script where we can continue to build on that. Now, by way of a quick review, let's just check how our jump is currently being handled. We've got a reference to our rigid body, and we apply a jump force to it. We've also got this section here where we have all of our variables for checking if we're on the ground. Now, in Update, we always take in horizontal inputs and apply it to the player, but below that, we have our jumping happening. Here, anytime we press down the jump button and are currently on the ground, we then apply an upward force on the y-axis. That's our jump force. Now, in order to make our player jump higher by us pressing the button down for longer, we're going to have to start by adding a couple of new variables. Let's begin by creating a header here to keep us organized. We'll just call this hold to jump settings. And here we'll have two public floats. The first will be our max jump time, which is how long we can hold down the button in order to continue jumping. And we'll also create a hold force, which is just how much upward force we want to apply while the button's being held down. At any given time, we'll need to keep track of whether or not we're in a jump state, so we'll have a private bool called isJumping. And finally, we are going to have a private float, which is going to be our jump time counter, and this will just count down the time until we can no longer hold the jump. All right, let's head down into our update method and go to our jumping section. First off, anytime we initiate a jump, we want to make sure that we set isJumping to be true so our script knows we're in a jump state. We also want our jump time counter to get reset to the max jump time. Now, we've already got an if statement to handle when we push down the button, but now we're going to need another one that's going to check whether the button is just being held. We also only want to run this logic if isJumping is true. So if we're in the middle of a jump and we're holding down the button, first we want to check if our jump time counter has run out. So if it is greater than 0, we'll just steal our rigid body command from the initial jump. The only thing here is that we want to change jump force to hold force, as we don't want to continually apply our full jump force. While we're at this, as long as we're holding down the button and in the middle of a jump, we want to make sure that our jump time counter is actually counting down, and we'll use time.delta time for that. Finally, if we're holding down the button and we're in a jumping state, but our jump time counter has run out, we want to make sure that isJumping gets set false. So now we've accounted for if we start a jump, we've accounted for continuing a jump, but now we need to figure out what we're going to do to actually stop jumping if we intentionally lift the button up. So here, if we lift the button up, we just want to set our isJumping variable to false. Now, whether it runs out because we've lifted the button or because our time is up, we'll no longer be able to execute the continue jumping, and it will take a fresh jump press while on the ground to initiate a new jump. Back in Unity, all that's left to do is to test this out and get our numbers feeling right, and I'll just show you how I do that. First off, I can see that my jump is just not powerful enough starting out. I'm going to change my jump force to 20, say, and my hold force up to about 10. Now when I jump, it's feeling a lot better, and I can in fact hold the jump quite high, but it feels a little floaty and perhaps like I'm jumping too high. I'm just going to downgrade that jump force to more like 16, and that's starting to feel a lot better. That said, it still feels just a little floaty. I hang in the air a little too long, so I'm going to go to my rigid body and just try giving it a little more weight to the jump by adding gravity. Let's try, say, a 4. Now when I jump, this feels quite tight and responsive, and I can also hold in order to jump higher when I want to. I like the way that feels. Don't forget that when you leave game mode, you will have to put those values back in, as nothing saves in the inspector while playing. All right, this is starting to look pretty good. I think we need more of a world now, so in the next video, we're going to add some tile mapping so that we can build our world quickly and get it looking good. Hope to see you in that video. Until then, this is Matt with Nightrun Studio. Cheers.